What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Pandemic Update for Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. Hopefully, everyone's staying healthy, safe. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. Starting off today with India. India has logged another 80 cases of COVID since their last update, and I'm not seeing any deaths added today to the death toll in India, which is some good news. Now taking a look at this. This is from Corona Heads Up on Twitter. And what they're showing here is the variants that are ongoing over in China. You know how we have the varying proportions from the CDC here in the United States? Well, here's the latest variants that are ongoing in China. And you might be surprised. XBB.1.16 is not, I'll repeat, XBB.1.16 is not the dominating variant there. XBB.1.5 is not the dominating variant there. You have seen us talk before a couple times about this FU variant, and there is an FU.1, and the FU.1 variant has outpaced the other variants. Look at it here on this graphic. You can see here in the green up the top, it just outpaces everything else. Then there's also this FL.2, which I don't know much about the FL.2, but I do know FU.1 is becoming concerning, and eventually it could enter the picture here in the United States in the coming months, should it continue to be circulating as fast as it is. Again, it has outpaced all the XBB variants, and I have said before, my concern is if we find something, or if we find ourselves with something that can outpace XBB and eventually enter the picture here in the United States and take over, it would likely cause a surge because this would be something totally different. We don't know if XBB provides any immunity towards FU, and if it does, how much? I mean, FU is something different. It is from the Omicron family of variants, but it's a new variant that we're going to have to keep our eyes on. And we now know that in China, it is the leading variant that is in circulation. All right. Now to this. Millions of patients do not have full recovery of smell or taste senses after COVID infection, study finds. We're just reading a headline here. This is something we've seen before, and yet another study is out now. I will tweet this. I'll add it to the website because it's another study, and it's another study that proves people have issues after COVID. And in this particular case, they are referring to the sense of smell or taste. Moving on to this from the Washington Post. This is about bird flu now. Explainer: H5N1 bird flu in mammals sparks fears of virus spreading among humans. Yes, we've talked about H5N1 several times before. H5N1 originated back in 1996 to 1997. And in the past few years, it has really taken off in animals. And because of that, it continues to be a potential problem for human to human spread down the line if something's not done about it. Right now, it's mainly animals to animals, with rare cases, very rare cases, of animals to human. But you know what? If it continues to circulate, it could turn into something else. This was from the Washington Post, and the commentary, of course, was my own. Now, moving on to this from Live Sciences. Ultra rare deep diving whale dies on New England beach with possible case of bird flu. We have seen an alarming number of whales passing away or washing up on shore. It's happened in New Jersey several times. And now in this case, I believe this is up in Massachusetts, where this happened off the New England coast. And look at this. It's sad to see, and we really need to get to the bottom of this. They're saying here it could potentially be bird flu for this one. We don't know what the New Jersey is. Some are saying it could be because of offshore wind development. Maybe that's bird flu as well. Who knows? But we really need to get to the bottom of this because this is not normal to see. I mean, we know over in Peru and a couple other places there's thousands of sea lions dying of H5N1. So yes, this is concerning and something we need to deal with. Now, I guess for some good news, I guess you could call this good news. Novavax executive says its new COVID shot should work against variants on the rise. So that's good news. But the bad news is we need to get Novavax more widely available. It's not always easy to get Novavax. Moving on to this. I did a thread last night. We did yesterday's pandemic update, and we said there were mixed signals in the data. That was one of the things we put in the title. And I did a thread last night, kind of elaborating a little bit more on that, and I want to show you some things in that. And the first tweet I put was very mixed signals in the COVID data right now, which is making it hard to get a read on just where we are headed on a national standpoint. While some places might be dropping, COVID in other places is rising. And this is 100% true, because as you saw yesterday in the video, and you're going to see here in this thread I did, wastewater is rising down in Florida in a lot of sites. But you do have other places around the country, as you saw yesterday from wastewater. I mean, look at all these dark blue sites. The dark blue sites represent areas where wastewater currently is low for COVID right now. But we are starting to see some places rise. We are starting to see other pieces of data that are sending different signals saying, wait a second, though that may be low, maybe it's actually starting to rise. And here's a few places in Florida that are just rising. I'm just going to show Miami-Dade. This was a very interesting one. 829,000 people at this watershed, and look at it. It was quickly rising. You can see Orange County. This was only 59,000 people, quickly rising. And then you come here, quickly rising. So all four of these are rising. Then we went to Ohio, and you get a very different picture. And it was actually a mixed picture throughout the state. Hamilton, which I believe is out near Cincinnati, that was dropping. But then you come to the end here, and Franklin County, look at this, which is Columbus. While Cincinnati was dropping, Columbus is rising. So it's really hard to pinpoint what's going on. Not going to show you just New York State data because that's yesterday. We do have new New York State data in a minute. And then we saw the New Jersey level yesterday. Remember New Jersey on Walgreens? Now that was rapidly starting to rise. And then we took a look at the ER visits. And look at this. ER visits, yeah, they are rising in some places. So the point I'm trying to make is here. If a new surge is coming, which I do think we might be headed into one, a lot of it honestly is going to be hidden. Remember, we saw BNO yesterday. Here it is again. 31 out of 50 states reported yesterday. That's 19 states that didn't report. That's 19 states where we don't have case data. And the places that do report case data, at-home test, people not getting tested. Many states don't include reinfections. It's just a real disaster with the data. So we're going to have to be really careful. And remember, we're losing Walgreens this week as well. So we're going to have to be really careful. Even if you see your area low on wastewater, don't assume it is fully safe. Assume that COVID is still out there and that there are still cases. Continue masking everywhere that you go. Because I think this next wave that's going to come, while we may be able to see a tiny piece of it in the data, a large majority of it is going to be hidden. And this did happen last year in the summertime when we had the summer outbreak, BA.5, I believe it was. And the CDC even said, we likely missed a heck of a lot of cases. And keep this in mind as well. This is just my opinion. Whether it's true or not, I'm not 100% sure, but I seem to believe people are less likely to get tested in the summertime. They say, oh, it's just, allergies or this or that. They're not likely to believe that they could have COVID because they say, well, it's not cold and flu season. How could I have COVID? I mean, I have witnessed it. I've seen people say that. And come wintertime, when they do get sick, they say, oh, maybe COVID's making its rounds again. Maybe it's flu or something. And more people end up getting tested. But also keep in mind, right now, we do not have tests free for a lot of people. You have to pay to get a PCR test. All right, moving on. Let's take a look at some Walgreens data here. And we'll take a look at a few more states today. National positivity is 23.1%. Prior week was 23%. That's a difference of up 0.1%. And testing was up this week. 2,204 people got tested versus 1,965. What's going on in California? 32% positivity there. 30.2% the prior week. 1.9% increase. And yes, testing did go up in California, 256 versus 169. How about Florida? Down in Florida, 25.5% positivity. Prior week was 29.2%. That's a difference of down 3.7%, but testing, yeah, in Republican Florida, testing was actually up 435 versus 318. So, I mean, that could be a sign that the summer surge is starting there. And I think in the summertime in the South, perhaps maybe more people are inclined to get tested there because I think a lot of people do realize that in the South, their numbers do rise just because of all the people that, rush inside because it's too hot to be outside. So they're cramped inside in the air conditioning and voila, you get community transmission of COVID and other viruses. Texas, 20.6% this week, 27.7% last week. That is down 7.2%, 340 tests versus 346. And let's just do one more. Missouri, 11.1% this week, 9.1% last week. That's a 2% increase, and testing was up as well, 27 tests versus 22. Taking a look here at this day in COVID pandemic history, we do not have anything to show you for today. We may have something to show you for tomorrow. Taking a look at BioBot, as you know, all regions in the United States are not rising at this time. Nothing has updated with wastewater, so nothing to show you with that. And taking a look at the latest variants, XBB.1.5 is at 39.9%, XBB.1.16 is at 18.2%, XBB.1.9.1 is at 12.5%, XBB.1.16.1 is 8.4%, XBB.1.9.2 is at 8.4%, XBB.2.3 is at 6%, XBB is at 3%, and XBB.1.5.1 is at 1.6%. And here it is again, in case you did not see it. Here's the latest ER visits. You can see here, Alaska, Utah, Wyoming, Nebraska, Florida, Virginia, Maryland, and New York. All these states have rising ER visits. If I called it admissions earlier in the video where I was showing a thread from last night, I meant to say ER visits, but you know what? With ER visits going up, chances are maybe their admissions are starting to rise as well. We'll check New York State in just a moment. Taking a look here at New Jersey, hospitalizations in New Jersey, and I'm going to move myself back to my normal spot. Hospitalizations in New Jersey are up today. It's 209 people in hospital, 4 people in a ventilator, 21 people in the ICU, and 67 out of 70 hospitals reporting. Still 3 did not report, so this number does have room to go higher. Let's take a look at Philadelphia. Remember, we don't have much data in Pennsylvania, but you can look at local data to kind of get a sense of what's going on, and 781 EMS incidents yesterday. That's getting close to that 800 level, which is concerning, and a live look on the burbs right now. You can see here, not terribly busy. Montgomery is at 14 active calls right now. Chester County, looks like there's just, let's see here, I think 6 calls right now. So again, not terribly busy, but Montgomery County, it's starting to get closer to that busier level. Taking a look at New York State, 277 cases in the last 24 hours, not including reinfections, not including at-home tests, and not including the people that choose not to get tested. 3.4% positivity today. That's down from yesterday's number. And 4.2% is the 7-day average. Taking a look here at the latest hospitalizations in New York State, they did rise ever so slightly from the last update. 546 people in the hospital, 51 people in the ICU. And let's take a look at newly reported hospital admissions across New York State, because this is important to see as well. And I'm going to zoom this in to make it easier for you to see. And you can see here, admissions in New York State this week compared to last week, they are up ever so slightly, which kind of makes sense because ER visits, they're up. How about in New York City? What's going on there? Are hospital admissions up in New York City? Yeah, I would say they are up slightly in New York City. And how about hospitalizations in New York City? What's going on with that? And yes, hospitalizations in New York City are up compared to where they ended on last Friday. 221 people hospitalized, 19 people in the ICU. Now let's take a look at a little bit of a international update here. Around the world, cases are down 35%. Deaths are down 53%. South Korea cases are down 7%. Weekly death change is down 1%. Australia cases down 49%. Deaths down 41%. France cases down 18%. Deaths are down 3%. New Zealand cases down 18%. Deaths are up 26%. Malaysia cases are down 16%. Deaths are down 23%. Thailand cases are now down 12%. Deaths are up 1%. 69 deaths versus 68. And we'll end today on Vietnam, where cases are down 44% with no deaths reported as of this update. Alrighty, folks, that does it for today's pandemic update. We will hopefully have another pandemic update out tomorrow. It may either be earlier than usual or it may end up being right on time. After that, I think the pandemic update is going to be going on a break until at least next Monday. However, there will be two key videos that you will see between now and then, which will be the weekly Hubbub data update, with their Hubbub World, with their weekly forecast. That'll be out either Thursday or Friday. And then you will see the weekly wastewater update come out on Sunday. Why is the pandemic update going on break? I'm actually going out of town to do a little social distancing, well, hopefully social distancing, at our place upstate. We don't have Wi-Fi there, but don't worry. I'm going to go and try and get some Wi-Fi. There's a couple places where I can go and do that, and I won't have to even interact with anyone, which is fantastic. So who knows, maybe I decide to do it an extra day, and I do include a pandemic update. But if you want to follow what's going on, the best way to do that is to check out my Twitter account. I posted down below. It's at COVID Data Report, and I constantly tweet there day in, day out, sometimes even in the middle of the night. And I will, of course, update there when a video is coming. I always try to tweet what time of day I'm doing my updates and what videos I'm going to be doing. So I will see you all again next time. I'll see you again tomorrow, and have no fear. When I go away, safety will be utmost priority. Masking is continuing. And yes, I'm going to even test myself when I come back, just for the heck of it, because you never know where COVID could be. It could be anywhere. Alrighty, if you like this video, give a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you all again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a great evening.